Hey guys, welcome back. Let's get into Love is Blind Season 7, Episodes 6 through 9. So we are now in Mexico. The couples have spent their time together. Now this is time for everybody to meet. I will say the funniest thing was when the women finally met Nick. They were really disappointed that how Nick looked did not match up to what he was saying or how his voice sounded. But I want to be honest with you, Nick's voice and mannerisms and what he looks like absolutely matches his voice for me, especially when he was talking to Hannah and he was just like, he used to wear these like rainbow trucker shades and just how he was dressing when he was playing baseball. No, was it football? He was in like some fun kind of league. I don't know what it was called, but I think it was like fun, flashy football and not like the real football. I forget what the league is called. It's still football and it's still respected, but it's not the NFL. It's like, I don't know what they're called, the Bananas. You know those baseball players that like perform all across the United States and they do like dance routines, but they also still play baseball? I think that's what Nick was in, but like the NFL version. So I can absolutely see Nick dressing and looking a certain way, especially with his voice and how he held himself. So it matches for me, but it did not match for the other ladies. And not Steve and also Noah Stefan calling Garrett a working class Chris Evans. He's right though. I can see it. I hate that I can see it. So let's get into the couples. Ashley and Tyler. Throughout these episodes, Ashley continues to go on and say, I don't care what my family says. I don't care what my mama say. I don't care what my sister say. No. She's gonna cater to her man. And Tyler is loving it and eating it all up because he is full of deception. So he needs a woman who will not listen to reason or wisdom or warnings from family or friends. So he has Ashley right where he wants her. And it's absolutely heartbreaking watching this woman talking to all the other ladies, talking about how perfect her relationship is and how she just thinks that her and Tyler are in a really, really good place and they're so perfect. And she's so shocked that they work so well, knowing that Tyler soon and very soon is going to drop a bombshell that changes everything. I will say a lot of the women had very supportive fathers who loved them, fathers who did not want them to go through this process, but they supported their daughters. So you could tell that their daughters were the apple of their eye because we meet Ashley's father and he is enamored with his daughter. He is very respectful to Tyler, but he does have a moment when he gets choked up and he was just like, this is my baby girl. This is my baby girl. Promise me that you're going to take care of her. And Tyler's like, yes, of course. You know, like a gentleman, Tyler asks for Ashley's father hand in marriage and her father approves it. But he also lets him know, don't ask for this if you're not going to do right by my daughter. Tyler still proceeds to ask for her hand and he gets permission from Ashley's father to marry Ashley. Knowing that he's a full-blown liar. He's playing in this woman and her father's face. And poor Ashley is eating it up, not knowing that she got a big storm coming. So Ashley and Tyler are living in fiance bliss and we see their progression throughout the episodes. Then we get to the drama. Cameras cut into Ashley and Tyler's apartment. It is very quiet, it is very somber. Tyler has been crying, Ashley has been crying, and Ashley's just like, I cannot see myself moving forward in a relationship with someone who just was not honest with me, who just did not tell me the truth. And Tyler's just like, well, we can work together, we can get through anything. She's like, how can we get through 3 kids? She's just like, I know that you said that you did this to help a couple trying to conceive, but this is still something that you kept from me. So he's still lying because while Tyler is saying on camera to Ashley that he's not actually a father, he is a sperm donor who helped a couple who could not conceive by giving them his sperm so that they can conceive 3 children. But while he is saying this on the show, his ex is on Instagram blasting him, saying that he is a liar, saying that she cannot believe that he would say that about their 3 children, posting and deleting on TikTok, saying that if he doesn't come out and say that he was lying, she's going to show everything. Then she starts showing pictures of them from Christmas and video, and in one of the videos, the kids are calling him dad. Diabolical, and Love is Blind needs to be ashamed of themselves for allowing this man to come on the show knowing that he has children, knowing that he is lying, knowing that he is going to drop a bomb on this woman, knowing that she is unaware and she is moving forward in the process with him, about to marry this man, falling in love with him, having sex with him, sleeping with him under the same roof, while this man is hiding 3 children from her. I know y'all have to get the ratings, but at what cost? And you can't say that you didn't know, because if you look at the post from Tyler's ex, there were pictures of them all over their social medias. I guess he removed him when he got chosen for the show. Whenever he did it, there was already evidence. So either the background checks are fraudulent, or you guys knew and allowed this man to deceive this woman for ratings. Nasty work. Alex and Tim, well, this took a turn. This took a turn. I knew that Alex seemed a bit annoyed with Tim because he seemed a bit goofy, but I thought that it was just her initial meeting and that she will warm up to him, especially in Mexico. They seem to be doing really well in Mexico. Like, everybody was banging, you know what I mean? Like, there was only, I think, 1 couple who wasn't having sex, but everybody was getting it in and getting down in the paint, okay? They were loving their little sexcapades. So it seemed like they were on the right track physically. There's something a little bratty about Alex, and we start to see it because little mama got a little bit of an attitude problem. And Tim doesn't deal with that lightly. He does not like how she speaks to him. He does not like how she behaves, and he wants to work it out with her because he really is falling in love with her. And I think she's falling in love with him as well. But Alex appears to be a hothead because her and Tim obviously have an argument. One of my really big issues with this show this season is that all of the drama, all of the meat and potatoes concerning this season happened off camera because there was a disagreement with Alex and Tim where Tim moved out of the apartment and was going to leave the experiment. I guess production talked to him, and I guess Alex asked him to give her another chance because we see this scene where Alex is sitting alone in the home looking very somber. Tim comes by, he barely wants to walk into the door. They sit down and they talk, and she's just like, so what do you want to do? Like, how can we fix this? The way Alex was speaking, the way she was treating Tim made me feel like she was the aggressor and she was in the wrong, because Tim was saying, I don't like how you spoke to me. I don't like how you treated me. And when you would not let me leave and put your hand over my mouth, that's when I made the decision that I was not going to be in this relationship with you anymore. I was ready to leave. I was ready to move forward. So it seems like she verbally assaulted him, was extremely disrespectful to him, would not let him leave when he wanted to leave the conversation or the argument because it was getting too hot. So she stopped him from leaving, then put her hand over his mouth when he was trying to defend himself. So it seemed like she escalated the argument and she got physical. And Tim was out. So I guess a talking to production and Alex being very apologetic, they decided to work it out and move forward because Alex was just like, I don't want you to leave. I want to work this out. She's wiping his tears because Tim is just really, really upset. And he's just like, nobody talks to me or treats me like that. And I don't want to be with someone who does that. And I respect it. Listen, I said in my first review in the first episodes, that I feel like Tim, not intentionally, but was manipulating Alex with his trauma, with his loss, with the things that he endured. However, I feel like Alex got a bit of an attitude problem. So they both have their issues that they need to work on, but it seems like these two actually want to work and make this relationship healthy. Because as they get through this, they take the next step where Tim goes to meet with Alex's family and asks her father for her hand in marriage. And it was really a beautiful scene. The dad was a little apprehensive at first. He was a little spicy, like his daughter, so we can see where she gets her attitude from. The father, we can also see that she is the only girl, so she's the spoiled daughter, but she's also the oldest, so she has a lot of responsibilities, but it does seem like this family caters to her. So now I'm starting to understand the dynamics between Alex and Tim. She's a princess. He doesn't want a princess and will not treat her like a princess. He will only do but so much, but he won't be walked on and disrespected. He will treat her like his baby girl, but he's not going to do the bratty princess. And so they have to find a happy medium for this relationship to work properly. I will say, although I feel like these two have a lot of issues, I really love the scene with Tim and Alex's family. It was just really beautiful to see. It was just really beautiful to see these Black fathers really loving on their daughters and really being protective over their daughters. Not because it isn't normal, but it is not normal to see on TV. It is intentional to not show that. So for this show to be intentional about showing that, I really like that. Although Alex is a bit of a bratty princess, I love that her family loves her. I love that her father adores her, and that is his baby girl. And when Tim asked for her hand in marriage, he broke down like Ashley's dad, because she's the apple of his eye as well. And he was just like, I trust you, and it will be an honor to have you as my son. Because Tim did a really good job. I will say that Tim did a really good job. He knew to hit the golfing points. He knew to talk about his time in the service. He knew that that would get her father around. And it seems like these two sat down and discussed what he needed to say to pull this thing off. It was really, really beautiful. And I was really rooting for this couple, but I haven't seen the finale. I just don't see it working, because I think Alex has a lot of maturing to do and Tim has to heal. I like this couple. I don't think they're ready. I think in another lifetime or maybe later in life they would be good for each other, but I think right now, no. And also Tim saw Ashley's apartment and was just like, absolutely not. I don't think they're gonna make it. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't think that these two are gonna make it. Also, I hope in the reunion they talk about what actually happened, because when Tim walked back into that apartment, that man had been crying. You could see it all in his face. His eyes were red. He was just broken down. Something happened, and I hope we talk about it at the reunion. So let's get into Hannah and Nick. Hannah has the ick. Like, she just does not like him. Hannah does not like Nick. Everything about Nick annoys her. I don't know why she's still in this process. She does not like the dude. I honestly cannot believe that I'm feeling bad for this dude, but I really, really am. Because in the beginning, Nick just seemed like a player to me, but I feel like he's really trying to make this work with Hannah. I don't know why. And I'm not saying it's because of Hannah. I'm just saying I don't think that he's ready to be a husband. He just doesn't give that to me. It seems like he really just wants to be successful in this process and is not really focusing on being a husband. So I feel like he's just trying to get through it with flying colors, you know, trying to pass this course by saying yes to Hannah for everything. But Hannah doesn't want a yes man. She wants a man that will stand up to her. She wants a man that will take charge and lead. She doesn't want to tell Nick what to do every time. That's why she's getting upset with him when she has to tell him about the chores. She's just like, I don't want to have to tell you to take out the trash. I just want you to do it. And she's constantly saying that to him. Yes, Hannah is abrasive with Nick, but I understand her frustration because she constantly has to tell him what to do and what she needs. So it's like he's not listening to her or like paying attention to her, and she's frustrated by that. And with her frustration comes degradation. So she tears him down, right? And Nick at this point is afraid to do anything because he doesn't want to piss her off. Because now he's at the point where he's just trying to please Hannah, and pleasing her is shutting up, taking her insults, and just staying out of her way, which is a terrible way to move into a marriage. But Nick still wants to move forward. I think Hannah did a good job when she met his parents, and finding out that Nick's mom is Cuban made a lot of sense. I was like, okay, that's where it is. That's where it's coming from. I understand now. I think Tana did a very good job impressing his parents. The mother was crying, was just like, I want her here. And I honestly think that the parents didn't do enough vetting of Hannah. I think they're just ready to have their home back. I think they've raised their son and they're ready for him to go out there in the world and be, you know, on his own 2 feet. I'm not looking down on Nick for living at home with his parents like Hannah is. In this economy, I absolutely get it. And it's also a very American thing. It's a very American thing to kick out a kid at 18 and say, go live on your own. You're an adult now. And that idea comes from the military, because 18 is considered an adult because the military needs bodies. We gotta tell the truth and shame the devil. Like, 18 is considered an adult because of the draft. Because America says at 18, you're old enough to fight and die in a war. You also have to justify that, oh, they are old enough for consent. If they're old enough to die in war, they're old enough to, you know, consent to having intercourse or being in a relationship with someone who is older than them. They're able to consent to vote. They're able to consent to smoke. So like that is why Americans kick out their kids at 18 because of the draft. 18 is not an adult. I don't care what the hell America says. It's 30. And that's pushing it. Anyway, I think Nick's parents just want him to be on his own 2 feet. I don't think that they're sick of him. I think that's their baby, and especially the mom enjoys him being around. But I think they're ready for him to grow up a bit outside of them, to mature outside of them, to learn how to do things outside of them. And that's where Hannah's frustration is, because Nick's parents does everything for him. Like, he doesn't know how to wash his clothes. He barely knows how to make a meal. Like, everything is provided for him, and that frustrates her because she does not want to replace his parents in his life. But Nick needs a lot of help, because although he's a 28-year-old man, there are a lot of things that he just has not done because those things have been provided for him because he has lived at home. That does not make him a bad person. That makes him a bad person to Hannah, who is jealous and resents the fact that he had and has so much support, because she says she was on her own at 18. And I wish she would have expounded on that a bit more, because when we meet her parents, they do seem very hands off, but it doesn't give that they kicked her out of the house at 18. So something there is missing. Either she decided to leave because she didn't want to live under their rules, or she went to go live with a family member because her and her parents couldn't get along. Like, something happened there, because when we meet Hannah's parents, there's some kind of disconnect. Like, the parents don't really want to be bothered. It doesn't seem like they really want to be there. They don't care. Like, Hannah is saying a lot of things to get a reaction out of them, and they don't care. Hannah's just like, I went on this show and I'm about to marry a stranger. How do you guys feel about that? And the dad is just like, well, you're grown. The mom was like, well, you know, that's Hannah. You do those things. And I feel like she's on this show because she wants them to react. Like, she does things to get them to react in a way that shows some type of care, but she just doesn't get it from them because they did not seem to care at all. Like, everybody else's parents on this show is like concerned and crying and just like, what are you doing? Some parents are so embarrassed and do not approve of the process, they won't even show up. But Hannah's parents show up and they don't care that she's doing this, and it's extremely bothersome to her. Which is why she resents Nick so much, because his parents do care. They care so much, they take care of everything for him so that he doesn't have to suffer, so that his feet never have to touch the ground. That does work against him, especially if you're going to be somebody's husband. But in this situation, it works against him because his fiance resents that he has what she does not have. And because she resents the things that he has, she tears him down. She tears him down to the point where her friend is like protecting Nick from her and giving him advice and just being like, don't let her talk to you like that. You have to stand up to her. And Nick is like, well, I don't want to harm her. And the friend is like, you have to stand up for yourself with Hannah. She will walk all over you if you allow her. And Nick's still scared, won't do anything. He just takes her insults, because Hannah comes back in the room and insults him and tears him down. And he just takes it to the point where Nick just doesn't even speak anymore. He is literally a shell of himself. He was this fun, cocky guy in like a cool way. And now he barely speaks. He does not make eye contact with Hannah. He looks at the ground. I'm sorry, but it's like giving abused partner. I really feel bad for Nick. Who knew that Hannah was going to be like this? He didn't. Nick thought he got something young and moldable. My God, today she's molding you, buddy. You are the trad wife in this situation. Oh God, Marissa and Ramses, they're in La La Land. All they do is laugh and have sex, which is fine, right? Every relationship should have that. Every relationship should be fun. Every relationship should have, a healthy sexual appetite, but they don't have any other conversations. Which is why after they done had all of that sex, they start to have disagreements about the military. I'm just like, y'all were doing all of this bumping and grinding, and y'all were not talking about your political differences, your values, your core values that can really make or break a relationship. I wonder if the show encourages sexual intimacy. Because for some reason, when everybody gets to Mexico, everybody's talking about having sex. Or like whenever they get to, on this show, whenever they get to their vacation destination, everybody's asking the sex question. And I'm just like, are we pushing that? Because it really does not make sense for you to come out of this pods with these people. Yes, you're engaged. This is still pretty much a stranger. You guys have to figure each other out. And what happens is they get out the pods, they're engaged, they think, oh, because we're engaged, we can have sex and figure out if this is what we want in the relationship. But y'all are having sex before y'all know anything about each other. Yes, you've exchanged information in the pod. Now you put this information to the person. You sit down and you have the conversations face to face and see if this works. You guys are getting physically intimate with these people you do not know. The physicality is confusing the fact that you guys are not a match. And that is what's happening with Marissa and Ramses. If she picked Bodan, she would not be here. That was your match. I just felt like you wanted to bang Ramses. And I understand, he cute, I get it. But sis, you gotta put down the penis and have some real honest conversations about your relationship, because marriage ain't nothing to play with. I will say their conversation about the military and where Ramsey stands and where Marissa stands, I think it was a good conversation. I do think that Marissa became confused a bit. You know what, I won't necessarily say confused. I think she was trying to appease Ramses, because at first she would just be like, I have a lot of issues with the military and I understand where you're coming from, I agree. And then when it got to the end of the conversation, she was proud that she had served. And I was just like, you were just saying that you regret going to war and like pushing buttons to kill people and making these decisions, and you don't like what America is doing, but now you do, and you love the fact that you have served. I think she probably still feels that way, like the first way that she felt in her conversation, but I think as she realized that she was being filmed, that she probably needed to clear up her stance to not only protect, you know, her position in the military, but also her funding. And also, we don't know what she signed up for. She probably signed up for not being able to critique the military, right? So we don't really know, but I felt like this conversation was long. It was intense. I think it was healthy for the both of them, but I think she started to regret some of the things that she said because it could possibly put her at risk with the military. But then again, I'm just like, what were you and Ramses talking about in the pod? Because he has like really strong fundamental issues with the military to the point where he's just like, if she decides to serve again, we're getting a divorce. And I'm just like, what? You guys weren't talking about this in the pods? Y'all were too busy talking about astrology, stars, and crystals. Y'all should have been talking about the military and where you both stand. Why wasn't this conversation in the pods? Why wasn't this conversation had before penetration? Y'all too old to not be making no wise decisions. Then Ramsey goes and meets with Marissa's friends, and they are, you know, soldiers, okay? And they are just like, we love the army. We love that we served. We don't have any regrets. And Marissa's looking at them and she's looking at Ramses, and I'm just like, okay, girl, well, how do you feel? Then she starts defending Ramses and she's just like, well, you know, I'm not proud, but I'm glad that I served. Like, it was just like such confusion. And I don't think that she's confused. I think she's trying to appease everyone. And again, protect her status within the military. Ramses is just like, oh yeah, you served, but I'm a product of American genocide, so I don't care about that. This is how I feel, and I'm not backing down on that. I will say, as somebody who was a product of American genocide, I agree with Ramses. My only thing is, why didn't y'all talk about this before you proposed? Like, it just doesn't make any sense that they're having these issues and this conversation never came up. That's what the pods are for you to have these tough conversations. What are y'all doing in them damn pods? Because it seems like none of the couples really had significant conversations. I like Marissa and Ramses individually. I don't think that they are a good match. I think that these two are gaslighting each other, right? Because Marissa is acting like she doesn't want to serve again. And if she had to make that tough decision, she would really consider Ramses and her family and where they're at. And Ramses is also acting like he doesn't want to raise their kids Christian. They're both lying to each other. Ramses is a church kid. He is going to want to raise his kids in the church. Right now, he's rainbows and feathers and, you know, 2 dreadlocks or whatever. When he starts to have children, he is going to want to raise his kids in the church, because especially for Black people, a lot of our culture is in the church as well. He is going to want to raise his kids in the church, and Marissa doesn't want that. So it's like these two do not want the same thing, and they're beating around the bush and not being honest. And I'm like, why are you guys not telling the truth? It's because y'all done did all of this stuff to bind you two together. Now you're trying to make something work when you guys were never a match from the beginning. Then we meet Marissa's family. And if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I do not like when a family is disrespectful to a family member's partner. I don't like it. I totally did not like how Marissa's mother was speaking to Ramses. She embarrassed her children, especially Marissa. She was putting a lot of her own relationship trauma on Marissa and on the relationship with Ramses. I agreed with her to have caution, but I think she was not looking at the situation with her daughter, and she was looking at her own situation and making those decisions. She also was speaking as if she didn't raise her kids, right? She was talking about certain decisions, but the way her children were interacting and the way Marissa was speaking about and to her mother let me believe that her mother probably had some issues, and maybe other family members were like the main caregiver, and she probably came into their life later in her life and in their life when she was stable. Because she talks about being with several men and their fathers and being thrown away and having to pick up the pieces and having to struggle and not having a lot. But like there were like some holes in it, whereas I am someone who is a product of a home where a parent was struggling with some substance issues. And so it was like a lot of in and out. When they're out, they're out. When they're in, they're all in. And they're like super parent. And it's just like, you've missed some chapters. So it's really difficult for me to accept you jumping in like that. And that's how I felt that her children were receiving her. But it was like, it wasn't disrespect. It was enough pushback to be like, this is not okay, but not too much because they don't want her to probably fall to the issue she had before. Very protective, very careful. It's like the child becomes the parent, but also setting boundaries. I really enjoyed Marissa's siblings and how they protected Marissa, how they protected their mother, but also how they presented themselves and was letting Ramsey know that he was safe with them, although Marissa's mother was being extremely difficult. And again, I agreed with some of her assessments. I just felt like she was rude and she was abrasive, but Ramses handled her very well. But then when he got back home with Marissa, he was just like, yeah, that's not something I want to be in often. So another issue, right? The military, religion. Now Marissa's mother, who he does not want to be around, and I completely understand. I haven't watched the reunion or the finale. I don't see these two getting married. I don't see it happening. I don't see anybody getting married, to be quite honest with you. I see all of these relationships falling apart. And also, I will say this, Marissa's mother is a realist and she came in strong to protect her child. However, I think she was just looking at Ramses as if he was auditioning to be in her family. I don't think that she realizes that he's also auditioning this family to see if he wants to be a part of it. It's a two-way audition. Just because his family isn't there with him does not mean that he's not assessing if this is a family that he wants to be a part of, and if you are a mother-in-law that he desires. So keep in mind, you're being auditioned as well. Also, let's get into Ramses in this condom conversation. Ramses doesn't want kids right away, but he doesn't want to wear condoms. I cannot believe that women are actually having this conversation with men. Like, we saw this last season. I forget that couple that I think they did get married, and I think they're still going strong. The guy did not want to wear condoms, but he also did not want to have children, and he wanted her to go on birth control. How selfish that you want a woman to take medicine or pills that will alter her entire body chemistry just so you can shoot up the club and experience all the pleasure you desire, while she's literally taking medication to re-alter her body for you. It's so selfish, it's so nasty, and it's so evil to want her to bend for you and put herself in a position where she could very well jeopardize her fertility so you can ejaculate freely. You put it all on the woman, right? Your pleasure is on the woman. It's not fair for you. She has to sacrifice her health, her body for you so that you can have great pleasure, but you're not even talking anything about her. Ramses is not even talking about how to pleasure Marissa, how to make this experience better for her, how to do other things so that you both can have an enjoyable sexual experience. He's not coming up with anything. His one thing is, oh, she gets on birth control, not him getting a vasectomy. He didn't even discuss pulling out or the rhythm method. Like, there are so many things that he could have done outside of condoms, but his whole thing was, no, I don't want condoms and I want you to get on birth control. And Marissa's just like, no, I'm not getting on birth control. I'm not putting that stuff in my body and I want a baby. So we have to figure something out. He's pouting like a little child. I cannot believe that women are having this conversation with men. Grown men. You don't want kids, but you don't want to do anything to prevent it. How does that make any sense? You're so smart about politics and war, but when it comes down to you putting on a condom, all of a sudden, you're a teeny weeny baby boy that doesn't know anything about sex ed. Weaponized incompetence. They're not going to make it. Monica and Steven, also known as Stefan. In the beginning, like when these two are in Mexico, Monica is loving it because she has Steven wrapped around her finger. She's gloating with the girls. Oh, he's afraid of me. That's how it should be. She's loving it because she's fully in control. So she thinks. She has Steven scared. She says jump. He says how high. If he annoys her, she lets him know and he immediately tries to fix it. But something is not quite right. Like the women are like, something is not quite right with him. Something is off with him. But Monica is looking past everything. Why? Because she's 37. I think 36 or 37. And she wants to make this relationship work because she wants to be married and have a child. Her biological clock is ticking. She's listening to society and she's just like, I have to make this work. So although she cannot stand him, although he annoys her, she wants to continue to press forward with this relationship. It even gets to a point where Monica is bringing this man to tears. I will say this about the women of DC. Some of them don't seem very nice. Some of them seem very abrasive and some of them are very dead set on controlling the men. And it's very odd because you normally see a dominance fight, but there's not a dominance fight in these relationships. I'm not talking about submitting in a way, oh, these guys are weak and they can easily be broken down. I don't think that anybody is weak or dominant in these relationships, but I feel like the men are submitting because I don't think that they are seriously in this process. I think that the men on this show came to this show to be seen and leave. I don't think that any of them outside of Tim really thought that this would work. So they're just allowing things to go and just be said so they can get through the process, get the money, and get out of here. But unfortunately, these men are paired with women who really want to make this work, who really want to get something out of the process. So it appears as if these women are not being nice and are tearing these men down, but what's really happening is they're getting partners who are not fully participating in the process because these men are just going along to get along. And the issue is that these men are playing house with these women and having sex with these women and pillow talking these women and love bombing these women, knowing fully well that they are going to say no at the altar. And I think that's where the frustration is coming from with a lot of these women. It's just like, you guys are playing, like something is not quite right here. And I feel like Monica is coming off really nasty. And she is, we gotta be honest with that. And a lot of the women don't seem nice, but I feel like it's because these women are getting played. And their woman's intuition is letting them know that something is happening, but they're rejecting their womanly discernment because these women are in their 30s and they're trying to push through because they have something to prove to society and they want children. So Monica's coming off very nasty, very short, not likable to Steven. Steven is near tears. He's looking like the victim. He's trying to appease Monica, all the while cheating on this woman that he proposed to the point where it made Monica sick reading the text messages that he was sending to someone that he was cheating with when he went to a sleep test. According to Steven, it didn't leave his text messages. He was just, flirting with someone through text. But Monica was just like, no, you are like saying some really nasty things that you want to do with this woman. And again, the Love is Blind cameras did not catch any of it. So we don't know what was said. We never saw the text messages. Steven came in while Monica was crying and talking to Taylor about what happened. He came in, he went into his room, then Taylor left and he came out to talk to Monica and they really didn't have a discussion. Monica was just like, Venmo me all of the money that I paid. He Venmo'd her the money, $400 to be exact, and he left. So we never really fully understood what happened. We do know that he cheated through text with someone at a sleep test. Didn't really get what the sleep test was or really break that down. Didn't know who the woman was. Didn't know what was said or what the context. We just know that it made Monica sick. but we didn't get anything else. And I'm just like, so what is the point of this season? Because everything is happening off camera. It is a waste of everybody's time. And speaking of waste of time, poor Monica. Poor Monica. She was really going to try to force that. Thank God he shut it down. He just wanted to be on the show and get exposure and get some free puss. And that's what he got, unfortunately. But he had to pay for it in the end. I know that's right, Monica. Get your money, queen. Garrett and Taylor. I don't really have much to say about Garrett and Taylor. All I really have to say is, again, because I don't like this couple, so I don't really pay too much attention to them. But I really hate how Taylor is still auditioning for Garrett's family who does not like her, because Garrett tells her all the time that his family just doesn't approve of the relationship. He even goes as far to say, I don't tell you things that my parents say about you because I don't want you to get upset. Well, you don't think that saying that is going to upset her? Like, what are we doing here? She does not deserve to be tortured by working class Chris Evans. It's unfair. I don't like this couple. I don't like how Garrett treats her, and I hope that this relationship does not go the distance, and I don't think it will. I don't think that he's going to propose. I think he's going to say something about how his family doesn't like her. He can't go through with this marriage without his family not approving, without fully telling her the truth. He cannot marry somebody who is not white, because Garrett has been trying to make it work. He has been trying to save face, because I don't know if somebody in production talked to him and was just like, you are going to look like a racist on this show. I don't know, but I feel like he's been faking it since the pods. Since he found out that she was not white. And I hope she drags him for filth at the reunion. Anyway, that's all I have to say about episodes 6 through 9. Please check out these 2 videos that I did of a quick recap of Love is Blind season 7. I know we normally do the lives. I just did not have the time. Hope you understand. Hope you enjoyed the videos. Love you much. See you soon for something else. Bye, guys. Mwah.